Nitrus, the woman with a heart of fire, both literally and figuratively, with a wild side to prove it. Nitrus grew up way out in the open lands where there was mostly just countryside, with the big city a ways out. She grew up fatherless, her dad skipping out on her and her sister at a very young age. Her being the bigger sister, decided it was time to step up her game and train herself to fight. She felt she needed to protect her mother and sister the best she can. All this at a young age, and unfortunately, it only grew worse. Nitrus's family was poor. It was a miracle her mother had food on the table. The poverty pushed her mother to unhealthy heights of desperation, and that desperation became the fuel for her biggest mistake. Nitrus had just turned 17. Nitrus's mother had made a deal with someone from the underground in town and decided to make a decision she would regret greatly, out of pure foolishness and short-sightedness. In an act of irrational thinking, she agrees to give one of her own children away to an underground mercenary group, one that would give her tons of cash in return for giving her child to them for a new soldier. This decision was quickly regretted the day her mother was met with her own terrible decision, and the reality of it all set in. The mercenary group showed up to collect her child and give her the money as planned, but their mother had changed her mind last minute. This pissed off the mercenaries and told her, "We had a deal, bitch. Give us the kid. Here's your fucking money. Now where is she?" The other struggled and said, No, I changed my mind. You can't have her. Please keep the money." The mercenaries were not having this and shoved her out of the way, but she started to fight them, gripping onto them, trying to stop them. And that's when one pulled out a knife and stabbed her with it. She stood there, shocked, feeling the stab as she fell to her knees and held her wound. They walked in, found the child, not even bothering to pick up the cash, saying, "Keep the cash, bitch, next time. Stick to the deal." Then leaving Nitrus, on her way home from training outside, saw them and her little sister, and just felt like something was wrong, and started running to them as quickly as possible, yelling, Hey, you can't take my sister!" They paid no mind to her screaming, got in the car, and drove off. She looked over, hearing her mother groaning, and run to her quickly. Looking at the sight, she was laying in a puddle of her own blood. Nitrus was shook from this, looking in horror. Her mother, looking into space, just mutters the words, So sorry. I love you both." Her eyes become lifeless. Nitrus watched as her mother died before her very eyes. She looked over and saw the small envelope of money. She opened it up and saw that it was a few hundreds. She looked at her mother, laying there, with no help in sight, no phone, no way to get a hold of anyone for miles, with no idea what else to do. She decided it was time to go. To where, she had no idea, but her main objective now was to find someone in town, tell them about what happened here, get some help, and then find her sister, somehow, and get her back. Years would fly by as she grows up, going from leaving that house in the middle of nowhere to living in the city. Throughout this time, having little to no word on what happened to her sister aside from what the police gave her. That it was a mercenary group who was infamous for taking in anyone young enough to raise as a future soldier. It was a mercenary ring. How the mother found them is a mystery in of itself. They're not exactly advertising themselves. So her leads were little to none. She would go through the years working various jobs before hitting the age of 20 years old, where she would start doing work in the adult industry, where she would make a killing with her extremely attractive self and personality, and from there, find herself in the military, joining up and showing her prowess, not to mention her unseen powers up to this point of sheer speed and inhuman strength and power, which shot her dramatically up in the ranks from special ops and forward, before her making her retirement happen later on, and leaving to a brand new organization, one that was off the books completely, wasn't even attached to the main government whatsoever, not officially. She's now living a full secret life, with a single code name she goes by. She walks the streets freely as a ghost who doesn't officially exist, and to this day, still hopes to one day finally find her sister.